I'm going outside. Hey, everybody. Hey. I'll see you one more time.
Well, hello, everybody. We have my family reunion here in Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm just going to let it stream live, let you guys see what's going on. We're going to get the activity started in just a few minutes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I can't see who's online like I normally do, but welcome, welcome to the Talbert. It's a family thing today. Amen. God bless you all. God bless you all.
I didn't know there was two.
All right, well, I'm going to start. Now that they're here.
What? Yes! Start what? I don't want to be at TikTok. Other people watch. Hey, guys, are you going to the second one or what?
I'm ready now.
They should play Tekken. Me and my family play Tekken tag all this stuff all the time.
Hi, we are going to start Now I know we're all children. Wait, you can get outside, buddy. So welcome to the Talbert first ever that I have any classes. Oh, not the first one, but we know of one other one that happened in 1983. So the last reunion was in 1983, so this is the first one in a long time. So we are so excited. We're just so excited that everybody was able to make the trip out here. We have a lot of fun things planned. I'm not forcing anyone to do anything, but I am going to encourage you to be a part of the fun that we're going to be doing outside and inside. But first, I wanted Leonard, our resident pastor.
Last of a long line.
Yes, not the last. So far. You know, hopefully we'll have more to come, but we're going to ask him to pray over the food in just a minute. The food is in that room there. Please eat. We have plenty of food. And so, yeah. Hand it over to him.
All right, so before we pray, take a look at the program you have on your name tag. But I just want to let you know that the green team is going to win. But I also want to let you know that we are Facebook Live, we're streaming live. If you go to my page on Facebook, you can share it on your page too. So tell all your friends, neighbors, and those that couldn't come, too bad for them. All right, let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this occasion. Thank you for the celebration of life, love, and our family. We pray, God, that you would bless the food that we're about to receive. We pray that you would bless the hands that prepared it and all that made it possible to be here. Thank you for this fellowship. Thank you for this reunion. Thank you for this occasion, oh God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Help yourself. There's two sides. Everything is the same. So there's plates, you grab a plate, fork, and so forth, and then you help yourself to food. Please eat the food.
Please does the green team go first?
I got it. I would have loved to have grown up with you. Aaliyah, it's your birthday. I love you. Happy birthday. What you want?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's telling me how to fix it.
I said. Okay, now I need to take it. No, you wanted to take it. That's what I was saying.
You can say that.
Right. He's Aaron a little quiet. He's like, you look a little quiet. Oh, okay. You guys want something to eat? Or y'all okay right now? You want to eat? Okay. You want to eat? Come on, I said, Mom. Okay. You don't want to eat? Okay. You got huh?
Happy birthday. How old are you? How old are you? Oh, boy, big girl. All you guys, you guys want from me today? What you got here? You got orange juice. Go to about to get some goodies. Oh.
Right?
I'm gonna wait.
We still gonna be friends after this.
Really?
Yeah, I did a slideshow, and I'm just gonna let it play while we're eating. Oh, wow. She got vanilla. All right. Yeah. I put all my so his father. That's my So that was on the island. They came to the island. That's one of my So anyway, joy.
First, that's right already.
Yeah, it is.
She looks like you.
Yeah.
She does, does she?
Who's that?
One of our cousins.
That's the
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Your son is.
Yes. That's the green team. Austin, leave the green team alone. That's right. We're gonna kick some butt. No.
I see your face.
Aren't you on the green team? What color is the dot on your thing? What color is the dot on your
I live in South
Oh, gosh. I'll say 60. Oh, actually, 6 years. It's called Talbert Ministries. We're just really grassroots ministry. I work not on a large organization. Like I said, I've never met them, so we get to play out of it. It's been rewarding to us. I get it. I understand what
Who's that?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's gonna replay. Mommy.
That's you. We're gonna have, we'll give one of those.
My son and David, that's why I'm part of the management. None of the they were there, but the last, and they were part of it. They were having Sunday morning services that they did. They were part of the teachers. Was it TV1? Talbert? Yeah, I remember that very well. That's, I think it was. I think I remember that. Yeah.
They came to see me in the hospital when I was, had often.
Yeah. And they went to the house and then that yeah. Small world, but a large church. That's the name. One of the greatest. Well, if nobody else, and so that was what we Is that right? Yeah.
No, I dabble in stuff. So it's pretty good, but I dabble in it. Like ODS, yeah, ODS, and we actually StreamYard, ODS, and then dabble in that. It works. The video and all that. It's really him. He just kind of talks a little bit of something.
They also so they leave us, I said this is that so when we finish there, they go down to the valley. Whole traditional church. We praise the worship for an hour.
15 minutes.
All of that. Right.
I do that to the Lord.
That's all that will go.
Yeah, I never understand that. Like, you can be on time to work.
Yeah, no problem.
That's it. The
level. It's my time to go up there and see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Seriously. You know, when this is small church, where we don't have, so. Yeah. They were just singing the other day.
My granddaughter. Daughter-in-law and her college grad. Bachelor of California.
Somebody got to look at
Denise? Oh.
Yes, I did.
That's me and my grandchildren.
For all your grandbabies?
Yeah. Yeah, what, 8? Got 8 grandchildren.
He brings me so many memories.
Oh, you ain't old enough to have memories. It brings back so many memories.
Those are my grandchildren.
Ah.
That was yesterday.
All right.
Ella, so young and innocent. No, that's not young and innocent.
That was awesome.
While we're finishing up, I'm gonna ask our friends outside to come inside. Hang on,
It's so much sunlight.
did.
I wanted to take this time while you're in to kind of go over some history. I know a lot of us still have questions, right? I have gone over this in my head over and over and over and over, and I still don't quite understand, right? So I'm hoping. Okay, so we're gonna start here, okay? So what I'm gonna try to do is kind of go through a little bit of the history, but I am welcoming any of you and all of you to share what you might know. And some of you might say, I don't know that, right? And I get it. My brother Charles and Glenn and I are fortunate to be a part of a generation that most of you are not a part of. So it's Jackie, Charles, me, and Doris, who are part of the generation so these are our great-grandparents.
So you're the senior generation.
Thank you. But I'm saying,
You're still younger than me.
Oh, I know. No, I want Doris to hear this. So Doris, what I'm doing right now, Doris, is explaining that you and me and Charles and Jackie and my brother Glenn are part of a very special generation because these are our great-grandparents. So have a seat as we honor you.
Yes, sit down.
Sit down.
You can sing now.
I got my dollars.
So Beverly, and I think right there, that's what confuses us right away is Beverly, isn't that a girl's name? Right? But back in the old days, Beverly was a man's name. And many of his offspring were also named Beverly. So you'll see Beverly or BT, that's part Beverly's name. BT is the first name is Beverly Titus. So Beverly was born in 1830, died in 1905, and he was married to Anne Mariah McEwen Talbert, who was born in 1836, and she died in 1917. So notice that they both were born during the times of slavery. So that's kind of where we're going to go with this story, okay? So Beverly, from what I've been able to understand, he was born into slavery. His father was named Daniel Talbert. And Daniel Talbert is where what I did was I searched all of my DNA white cousins, because I don't really have any other white cousins that I know of, right? So I looked at the DNA and I followed all of it and landed with Daniel Talbert. And so my assumption at the time was, well, he must have been Daniel Talbert's son. So I started to do some research knowing that Daniel Talbert was a slave owner. He was I'm going to call him an enslaver. Okay, he was an enslaver. And he, at this point in time, he had 16 slaves. Now, if you look at the census, you're going to find when it comes to those who were enslaved at the time, they don't tell you their names, and all they tell you is their gender and their age, roundabout age. So I was able to find, for example, in his home, he had, so it says slaves, female, the ages 24 through 35, he had 2 of them. So I have all of this, and by the way, this is all on Facebook. But then I did a little bit more digging, and I looked at Daniel Talbert's probate records. Okay, he died a very wealthy man, he had a lot of property, he had a lot of, things that he was giving away to his siblings and his children and so forth. And I found a list of some of his property. Beverly is listed as one Negro boy, Beverly. So Beverly was worth $350. Isn't that crazy?
That's pretty good.
That was a lot.
That was a lot of money back then. That was a lot of money.
A lot now.
So looking at Beverly, I'm guessing you would think, wait, he was enslaved? Yes, back then, if you had any black in you, you were considered, property. My guess is that his mother was enslaved by Daniel, who probably was mulatto, as it was referred to back then. Now, that's just my guess and my imagination, but, I don't know. But if you look at his hair, you can see his hair seems to be a little more coarse,
Like mine.
like yours. Like what? So, Daniel, in 1865, when slavery ended, he did acquire a lot of land. And Charles, you said he might have been an overseer.
Yeah.
What do you know about that?
Well, what I was going to say, one thing is that when I first saw that first picture of Mariah and Beverly, my father showed it to me. And his grandma died the year he was born. So I looked at the picture, looked at my father, looked at the picture again, and then I said, now, which one is black? So I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that when Beverly had land, a farmland. A church in Beverly Chapel was actually built upon that farmland. And the only way and I knew that he was an overseer. So the only way he would have been able to get land is from Amariah. So I believe it was Amariah's land, and he was the overseer of that land. Because again, you're going back in Mississippi, back into the 1800s. I don't think it was all that pleasant for a person of color. But that's my understanding. And that's how he was able to sell that land to his, unfortunately, he didn't sell it to his children or grandchildren, but they still benefited.
So does anyone have any other information that they've gathered about Beverly? Anyone? You're the one that was so long ago, right? We don't know. So a lot of this, I think, is that my imagination? Did I make it up in my head? Because what I don't know if this is what you do when you think about your ancestors. I try to pretend like I knew them and what they might have felt and what they might have gone through and maybe the pain that they suffered and what was life like for them back then. So, and then let's move on to his wife, Anne Mariah McEwen Talbert. Now we think McEwen is Scottish, although we've been told Irish.
Yeah, it's Irish because Scottish, the distinction is MAC versus MC.
So,
If it's MC, it's Irish. If it's
Okay.
MAC, it's Scottish.
so the only reason I think it's Scottish is because when I do my DNA, I am 46% Scottish. So I don't think it's on my mother's side, but it could be. And I have about 11% Irish. So it really could be Irish, could be Scottish. Any of you have DNA?
She looks like she has a Scottish nose though.
Is that what it's, I don't know what it's Scottish.
I have Irish in mine.
You have Irish. Anyone else have Irish?
Irish.
Yes.
We're Hogan.
Okay.
Irish.
So you all have
I
Irish.
got 17% shot.
You do have some Scottish.
Yeah, 17%. That's pretty
So you
good.
never know, right? Back in those days, Scotland and Ireland were very close. Who knows?
It was the same back then. It was
Yeah,
one
it was
piece
one piece of
until
place.
Yeah.
history happened.
Correct. So Anne Mariah came from this is the story that we've been told, not just from looking at documents, but we actually had some first account information from who? Cousin, somebody who was 105 and 83. No. She was a cousin who knew them. All right, never mind. So, Anne Mariah, no, there wasn't an old cousin,
It's on the page.
very old cousin that you met in 1983 at the reunion, and you all went to visit them in Oxford.
That would have been Uncle Ulysses' kids and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's where I also met Ms. Mosley.
Okay. Okay, so she her sister, Rebecca, and her two brothers, we don't know their names, were immigrants from Europe, whether it's Ireland or Scotland, I don't know. They came, they had slaves as well. And the two brothers went to fight the Civil War. Now, in the meantime, they had acquired a slave whose name was Moses. And Moses was left to care for them, the two sisters. So Moses, the slave, was left to care for the two sisters while the two brothers went off to fight in the Civil War. So he took good care of them. He had two children. So she had two children by Moses. One of them was named Mac McEwen. They took the name McEwen. Now, the other sister was Maggie. I don't have a picture of Maggie, but she had two children, Mac and Maggie McEwen. This was before she met Beverly. Okay, so this was before Beverly came into the picture. But she had them and kept them and raised them and all of that. So I'm going to ask for Jackie to share a little bit of what you know about the McEwens through Mac.
Okay, Mac, I know nothing about. I knew the second generation.
Okay,
And that was Walter and Alfred. There were about 5 of them.
okay,
A sister Velma and a sister Dorothy.
okay,
Those were the 2 females.
okay,
And Walter and Albert, was it Albert? Alfred lived in Washington, and the others were scattered. 2 or 3 of them lived in California.
okay,
So this is all I know. When I went to Central State, one of the brothers was head of ROTC,
okay.
and he left in June, and I got here in September, so I know that.
So you never met him either? Okay,
So then it's the next generation that I knew. That's Skipper
okay.
and
And there was a famous McEwen. What was his name?
Mark McEwen was on the Today Show.
Do you all remember that name? Mark
He was a DJ as well. He was a weather person on the.
Right. And it was very into music. I think the whole family was into music, yeah. And ultimately, he had a stroke. And, yeah, so life kind of quieted down for him, and I think the day was in Florida or something.
Okay, okay. So that's the
Now,
McEwen
Skipper
side.
McEwen, who would have been Max McEwen's great grandson, would have come today, but he had knee surgery.
So he
So
wasn't able
he
to.
had knee replacement.
And he's in Washington.
He's in Delaware, actually.
Oh, he's in Delaware.
So,
Okay,
so Mark is still alive, he's 67 years old,
okay.
he's married to someone named Denise.
Oh, well, there you go.
Who's Mark McEwen?
Mark was a weatherman, he was a weather forecaster.
Oh, Mark McEwen, okay.
Mark McEwen.
Right.
He was balding like me. I know
Yeah,
he
he was.
So after she had the 2 children by Moses, Moses actually married her sister, Rebecca. So there's a whole line of children they had I know nothing about, but there is a line there. I thought you were raising your hand to ask a question.
That's the 13.
So no.
Oh, this is a different song.
Rebecca's the sister. So we do know that there's a line of her sister's descendants that are related to us, but all we know about is Andoriah and Mac.
But that's the 13. She's the mother of.
She's the mother of 15, but Beverly was the father of 13 of the 15. So there were 15 kids that we know of that she had. Look at her face. You can tell she was tired.
She must have been really sweet and kind.
I know. That's from our imagination.
Because, I mean, you know.
Right. She loves children.
Yeah.
So question, so most of us here are the product of Andoriah and Beverly, not,
And not this, but I didn't want to negate the fact that we have family that is also McEwen.
Mac before she married Beverly.
She met Mac, or she had Mac before she married Beverly.
so we're of no relation to Moish.
No.
Who? Moish, or,
The slave?
the slave.
Moses.
Moses.
But Moses, that's Moses' children.
Yes, so, but we're no relation.
But we're not related to him.
Well,
No,
that's
no.
very interesting, because I said to Skipper, why is it I've had no DNA relatives from my parents?
Because we're not really related to him.
My mother was Walter, my parents' first cousin, they thought, very close to years.
Interesting.
So,
So what-
so my question to everybody else is, what Jackie has said, see if you can find some McEwen. Because we know we're related to them, but we just don't know how.
And maybe their name isn't McEwen anymore, I don't know, who knows? So, but yeah, so really, it was Beverly and Anne Mariah who were married and had the 13 children. So what I did was I pulled up the 1900 census. At that time, Beverly was 70 years old, and Anne Mariah McEwen was 64 years old. Now, we do know that 3 of their children did die before 1900, so I don't really know anything about them. But at the time in 1900, Mac was 36. His sister Maggie was 33. And then John Henry Talbert, who was actually my grandfather, was 28. And then Frank, who was Jackie's grandfather, was 26 in 1900, and they called him Frank Jones.
Is there another person here that's also the same generation?
Yes, John, that's right,
Yeah,
John
that's
is part of the
his
same
grandfather.
Yeah.
generation. You guys are first cousins, I completely forgot that. So Frank was 26. And then Hannah, I don't know anything about Hannah, she was 24. Beverly Titus was 22.
BT.
There was a daughter named Alice who was 20. Ulysses was 18, and we know his descendants. One is named Robert. I wish he could have come. I found him on Ancestry. Ardelia at the time was 16. Notice the difference in ages, say, between John Henry and Ardelia. There was a huge age difference. And then came Alexander, who was 13. Beulah, who didn't have any children, I do know that, she married someone named Camp, C-A-M-P. Beulah. And then there was a Maria, but I don't know how, they didn't say her age. So I want to make sure, I apologize, John, I didn't hit, it didn't.
You don't have to apologize, I didn't know it either.
I'm still learning all of this. Yeah, all of this was in the census. I do know from when Anne Mariah died, her obituary said she had 15 children. That's how I knew there were 15. And it did say in the obituary that 3 of them had died before 1900. So that's how I knew that. So from first-hand account, I love that when you can go beyond to find out a little bit more.
So can we, just really quick, like, see who the lineage of, so Mac McEwen, it was, who's here from?
So what I'm gonna do, I'll show you right now. You were thinking just like me. So there are, if you look at this tree at the top, there's Beverly and Anne Mariah. And here today, we have representation from Alexander, from John Henry, from Frank Jones, and Ardelia. So I wanted to do this. I wanted everybody to stand up when we talk about each one, and then maybe if you have any information to share, maybe you can share. So if you are a descendant of Alexander, who's on the far left, you don't have to stand up, you can raise your hand. You too? Raise your hand.
Now stand up.
So, we do know that Danielle's grandmother was named Elizabeth, and maybe that's all you guys know, is who your grandparent was. I mean, so I have a picture. Oh, that's her. So tell us something about Elizabeth.
Elizabeth was a homemaker and had 7 children, and she was very active in the church. She was the president of the orchestra choir, and that was her niche, because her dad was a reverend. Or Reverend, no, that's her dad.
Alexander was her father.
Yes, wow.
And Alexander was a minister.
Yes, he was.
He was a minister, and he kept the name Talbert with an A. And I'm gonna talk about that right when we finish this, okay? All right, then we go on to John Henry. So we don't have anyone here from Matt. John Henry, raise your hand if your name is on that list. So these are John Henry's. Raise your hand high.
Raise your hand.
Doris.
Doris.
That's
So you look around, we are all descendants of John Henry. All right. So me, my brother Charles, and
There was all kinds of comments about children and stuff like that. You were good.
And then you can see John Henry had 3 sons who are represented here today. So John Henry, who was named after John Henry. That John Henry is our father, my father. And then Malalu was Pamela's father, her grandfather. And then our Uncle Ed, Edward, these are all his.
That's what mom said.
And Doris and I just discovered each other last November, October.
No, actually, it was, remember we talked back in the early part of last year?
That's right, so we've been a
I
while.
found Denise on Ancestry.
Yeah.
Because I was bored one day and I decided, let me just jump back on Ancestry because I would do it every so often. And so I posted something and I said, my mother's name is Doris G. And I'll give you a moment. I never knew any of these people. I didn't know, all I knew that the Talberts were my name. That's it. But I said, my mother's name is Doris G. Talbert Williams. Her father's name was Edward Tolbert, and her brother's name was Edward Tolbert, and that's all I knew. And then I think a couple of days later, Denise messaged me back, and I was like, oh my God. And so Denise and I kind of messaged each other back, and we talked on the phone, and she sent me a picture. So I texted the picture to my mom, and I said, who is this? And I called her because she doesn't really text me. But I called her and I said, look at the text message and tell me who this is. And she said, that's my dad. And I just cried. I didn't know my grandfather. And to me, the husband that knew my grandfather was just like very emotional to me because all of them never existed until last year. So we got on the phone.
Look.
Exactly. We got on the phone with my mom and talked about my grandfather, my mother's brother, and the rest of the Talberts. And Denise had more information than I could ever absorb. And just to know that I had a family on my mother's side was just overwhelming. And so we have been planning. Denise came down along with Danielle to meet my mom and to meet us, because my Lisa and I were both in California at the time.
And we had Thanksgiving dinner.
And so,
Mine.
right, so we got to meet and understand. We got to meet and understand, at least Lisa and I got to understand who the Talberts really were. I had been looking at the census for probably 20 years, and I could never make the connection because nobody ever messaged me back. And Denise told me that she did message me back, but at that time I probably got off Ancestry because, you know, I mean, I've been doing this for over 20 years. So when I got this message, I was just like, oh my God, this is somebody that I can reach out and touch. But little did I know that Denise, Glenn, and Charles were my mother's first cousins. Yeah. And that was amazing to me.
And I don't have any first cousins because there was such a huge generation in the sense, like my father was 45 when I was born, and his father was 45 when he was born. All of our first cousins are gone, except Doris.
So I talked to my dad this morning, and he said that mom, you know, you went out to your parents' house when you were born, but he also said your parents came to 87th Street. So there was
a connection.
more connection than we know,
my dad, he's 93, so he has some memories of me. They can remember back.
They didn't tell the truth.
But but your parents did come to visit.
Wow, that's so good to know.
I don't remember.
That's all right, you're 87. You don't have to.
I think I'm right here now.
And then Pamela's mother.
Doris went to high school with my parents who met in high school. My father was from Mississippi, but he was sent to live with his aunt, who was a teacher in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, that's.
And then my mother also was from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they met in high school. Well, I think they met before that, but anyway, he used to come down when he was a little boy to visit his aunt Odessa, and they met at the playground or something, I don't know, it's all good. And so then Miss Doris says, oh, no, Denise called and says, Doris went to high school with your dad and your mom. I'm like, well, I don't know nothing about it. My father's been gone since 93, and my mother didn't remember, because she would have been younger, and behind them in high school. But just the fact that there was that connection, not aware of, was just fascinating.
But who was Leon's father?
Malibu. So Pamela's grandfather was Malibu.
Okay, who was Charles?
Charles.
Charles, he's not up there because no one from Chaucella's line is here.
We own the people here.
I only put
on this?
Yeah, Charles.
Okay, so Antoinette mentioned what took place when she met Denise from her perspective. From Denise's perspective, she says to me, living in Minnesota, Charles, do you know that Uncle Ed had a son? Yes, he was killed in Korea. Then she goes, do you know that he had a daughter? He had a daughter? So I had gone to my Uncle Ed's wife's home back when I was younger. There are photos of little Ed in his military garb. I apologize. And so then Denise is saying what Antoinette had told her about her grandma. And so as I'm listening to this, I say, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But who is she?
Yeah, we didn't know.
So the disconnection went both ways. And so again, as I said before, if you could figure out any of this stuff, please share.
Yeah,
because-
we're trying, but you know what? This is all now part of just,
All the people who know are dead.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. All right, so we'll move on. And then we do have representation here from Frank. And the names of the people who are up here are, I hope all of them are up here. So Jackie's mother was Elmira, and they called her,
It was an A.L.
oh, okay, sorry.
That's a city in New York.
Oh. But didn't she have a nickname?
Baby.
Baby, they called her Baby. And then Russell is a newfound cousin of Jackie's. And raise your hand if you are part of Russell's.
So Russell would have been her uncle.
Yes. Oh,
Not
Russell was
cousin,
your
no,
uncle. Your
John.
mothers were first cousins. So John is here and Denise is here. And there should be other people coming, by the way. They live not too far. They're on their way. They said they'd be here around 3.
So
Yeah, David and Kay.
you guys are first cousins.
That's my dad.
That's your dad.
That's my dad. They're first cousins.
Yeah.
Jackie and my dad are first cousins.
Okay, so there are people coming, I hope. I know that Aisha
Wait.
should be
So,
coming.
Russell, who's Martha?
So Martha is my dad's sister. So Russell had 9 children.
Lord.
And so my dad and my aunt, we call her Dot, not Martha.
Everybody
But
got
she'll,
to
right, and his nickname is actually Bobby. But anyway, yeah, so there were 9 of them. And so only 2 of them would be here.
Yeah.
So what can you guys share about Russ?
Well, my father was really a hard-working man. He was a harder working man than me. Because I tell you, that man always kept 3 jobs. And most of the jobs was almost full-time, and there wasn't too much time for him to sleep. So what he did was run a pickup truck and told me, "You're working with me from now on." And he taught me a lot of things that I wouldn't have known. And I found out how much he cared about his family. And he said, any man that has a family should take care of it, whether he has 1 job, 2 jobs, even 5 jobs. And my mother, I consider her to be a lucky woman. She never had to work a day in her life because my father said, "You got enough of kids here to take care of. You don't have to work." And that's just about what happened. And my mother told me a lot about her family that I learned, but I knew very little about my father's family.
Right.
And that bothered me for years. And I'm telling you the truth, it bothered me up to now.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I'm in a room with a lot of my father's relatives. Because he told me, if you pray hard enough and believe in the Lord, the things that you want to see happen, they might not happen when you want it to happen, but they happen at the right time.
Right.
And this was one of the right times. And I'm very appreciative of all of you. And I'm sorry, this leg messed me up where I can't jump up like I used to. And maybe that's why the good Lord fixed it so I couldn't jump up. But I was always on the go. If you put me in the car, I don't have no trouble. I can go for miles. But if you tell me to get out of the car, I got a problem.
Well, I found Martha on Ancestry. All of a sudden, she popped up as one of my DNA cousins, so I reached out. And just so happens that we knew Jackie, because it could have been just as easy to not know Jackie, just like we don't know everyone else. So we were able to hook you guys up with Jackie. So, all right.
So, this is another quick history. So, my grandfather knew about his sisters, but his sisters did not know about him. So they have a different mom than my grandfather. And so that's how it kind of got lost. And we have the last name of Bell because my grandfather took his stepfather's last name. So that's how Bell came about. And then that's kind of how it got lost.
That's why I couldn't find them.
Yeah, because everybody was looking, when they did kind of hear about it, they were looking for Italians, which they would never have found. And I'm not sure how years ago, probably about 40, 50 years ago, they did find each other, but then lost connection until recently. Got connected, so it's nice.
So I wanted to say, Elizabeth Tolbert, she has one living, your first cousin, right?
Oh. It wouldn't be a first cousin, it would be a second cousin, but it's the same generation.
And Alexander is his grandfather.
Okay, just like this is our grandfather.
Yes.
So the same, so there
And
is another.
there's just one left.
How old is that?
And he's in his 70s. He lives in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay, so there's another one of us.
Yes.
All right, what's his name?
Joseph.
Joseph.
Right.
Wow, okay.
This is very interesting. Talking about this child getting killed, his son getting killed, and I remember hearing that. I didn't know whose child it was, but I know some family member, I guess, possibly the only child lost.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Yeah, there's only
Yeah.
one.
That was
Yeah, and I do remember that.
So I know that people here are probably going, okay. But you don't understand, and you will understand someday how important it is to talk to our elders and learn from them, because once they're gone, once we're gone, our history is gone with it. So, all right, and then the last sibling that we have representation is the sister, Ardelia. They used to call her Aunt D, from what I remember, you talking about Aunt D. And Ardelia had a son named Otha Reuben. Am I saying that correctly? Raise your hand if you represent Ardelia. All right, so you're all on this end of the room. So tell us about her, or tell us about Otha, if you don't know much about her.
Right. I know that Ardelia passed away in 1960. And I was just about a year, maybe 2 years old at that time. Her son, she married a guy named Fleetwood.
Fleetwood Mac?
No, just.
But you make that connection with the Puritans, but they had about 9 children. All of them somehow moved to California. So Ardelia died. When she died, she had, like I said, she knew me, I didn't know her. Talbert ran deep in our family, but we didn't ever know the connection. Because the children were all Pattons. Fleetwood Patton was his name. And so Otha Reuben, who's my grandfather, married very young to a lady named Cleola and had my mom. Cleola died almost at childbirth. When my mom was 6 months old. So that was an only child, and then he remarried and had several other children. My mom was Muslim. She had 7 children. Yeah, we didn't have TV. No, she had 7 children, and I'm the youngest son of her. I have 3 biological children. This is my oldest, Tiffany, and I have 2 boys that are probably twice her size. They all have 3 kids now too. No, she has 4 children, and the other 2 have
3 and 2.
3 and 2. This is my wife Brenda. What I know about Otha, he took care. He was a family man. He actually moved from Memphis. They were raised in the Memphis area, Memphis and Mississippi area. My understanding was he had to move to California. Had to move to California. Had to move to California. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be here today. They called him Red at the time. He was a bit of a gangster.
Planful.
So he moved to California. He actually worked very many years for the Rapid Transit District out there, supervisor. His brothers, I have other siblings, other cousins that are out there in California. They would have come. I have a cousin named BT.
We know BTS and both, but we don't know where they are.
Yeah, they're in California. They're in the fire. If we go to California the next few years, they'll all be coming. I found out that some of our relatives in Memphis knew of the Patton's mortuary. There was a funeral home, and one of my Ardelia's children, Colleen, she was my great aunt. She ran the funeral home. It's a picture of her up there. It was very interesting how they grew up. We were close-knit, but very independent. The Pattons, the Tolberts didn't ask for anything from anybody. It was just in our nature. They just didn't ask. They did what they had to do, and they made it. And it's fine. I got so emotional when I hooked up with Denise because, ancestry.com, I don't know if it was real or not. So I did the DNA testing, and it came back and it showed my daughter. As my daughter. So I said, oh, there must be something to it.
Yeah, and I don't remember if I reached out to you or you reached out to me, but we became Facebook friends, and then we were able to make that connection there.
I started building the trees up, and so this is fascinating to me. I've always on ancestry. It's kind of addicting. I was at a time. So learning the Talbert connection is so real for these kids because, like Denise said, this history goes deep. I mean, they don't live in Bethlehem. Right?
Yes.
Looking for Jesus. But it's really fascinating. So I don't have a big history with them, but we're hard workers. We love each other. We're family people. Otha kept his family together. In fact, he raised a stepson from his second wife, Elizabeth, and they're all here now. I have cousins that when you guys come to California, You guys gonna see people that look exactly. I'm looking at people that look just like people in California. I mean,
Yes.
to the T, to the T. So it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to get down there and learn my twerk lesson.
Don't worry.
Please don't. No bad behavior. Please don't. Anyone else from Ardelia's side want to share anything? Austin, do you want to share anything?
Oh, and today is Leah's 4th birthday.
Yay!
Thank you.
All right, I do want to share something that Charles shared with me today, and I thought this was great. I'll read it since I didn't want to read it. So some of us are Talberts and some of us are Tolberts. Concerning the A or the O in our last name, whether it was the census who wrote it differently, because I don't know if you realize the census was written by hand, names were misspelled, okay, or it could have been the differences of the church. We've heard that part of the Talberts left and went to a different type of denomination. From A&E, they went from United Methodist to A&E, and then they changed their last name spelling to an O. It could have been a rebellion against the slaveholder Daniel Talbert, or for some other reason. Do you have another reason?
So Alexander and Maddie, they were both Talberts.
Talberts.
Maddie was the Tolbert with the O and he was with the A.
Yeah, so who knows why it changed, right?
Right.
And there are some of us here, if you're a descendant of a Talbert, raise your hand. Tolbert, raise your hand. See, look at that, that's so crazy. Okay, only God knows why, but regardless, it's because of Anne Mariah and Beverly that we are here and one large family united. So it doesn't matter.
And maybe Beverly's dad was the German agricultural.
There you go. She is not letting that go.
Because I said that when I looked up Edward.
Mispronunciation, yeah.
Yes.
It sounds the same, Tolbert. Yeah,
I've had some teachers to call me,
yeah.
and I had to tell them I
No,
was not.
a Talbert, exactly. So this is a college in Holly Springs, Mississippi, where many of our ancestors lived. Rust College wasn't just a college, it went from kindergarten.
No, I went from 8th grade.
Oh, 8th grade, okay, 8th grade all the way. So I'm gonna ask Jackie to share a little bit about the history of this college and how we're connected with it. Rust.
Rust College, I tried to find where it fit in the HBC listing, but it's one of the really old black colleges.
Mhm.
My family was very involved in Rust College. My father had these 2 daughters. He did not want them to end up in a white kitchen. So he sent both of them to Rust College. Well, the Methodist Church started the school, and missionaries from the Methodist, the Northern Conferences, came down to staff it. So my mother and her sister went there in 8th grade. They graduated high school and got bachelor degrees after college there. I think I mentioned to you, it was very much for my mother finishing school. I have a little thing, an invitation that my mother got from a party from the Latin Club. I mean, all of this was going on at Rust College. So my aunt graduated from Rust College. She married a guy in her class who became the coach, college football coach. She joined the faculty. She majored in French, and that's what she taught. And she moved across the street from Rust College, and she died across the street from Rust College. That's where she died. So Rust College has been a big part of my life and my family's life. They're friends.
Did our father go to Rust College?
They did. They went to Russ College before he moved up to Tulsa. But there is a famous alum of Russ College that you may have heard of, may not have heard of. You ever heard of a woman by the name of Ida B. Wells?
Oh, yeah.
Russ College as well. No, I did not know her. I ain't that old.
I'm looking at in Holy
It's
Springs.
small, and it's still a small Methodist college supported by the Methodist Church. And every year when you give money for, the HBC colleges in your church.
And that was part of it. So, and then we found this picture, and I thought this was kind of a cool picture. This was Wesley Methodist Church in East St. Louis. This is our grandfather here, and our grandmother, and Madalou, which is Pamela's grandfather. But I just love this picture because everyone just looks so serious, but this is what it looked
You
like.
know who he's holding?
That's Chasella, that's our first cousin
And
Chasella.
you know what, back to Milo, he lived right on that same Russ College Street. And Lydia.
And he married my grandmother, who was from Red Banks, Mississippi. I don't know, my dad was born. Red Banks, Mississippi was up the road, up the hollow, from Holly Springs. My grandmother's brother was a mason, built her a house right across the street from Holly Springs.
From Russ College.
From Russ College, right, in Holly Springs. And then we would go down in the
Did he
summertime.
go to Russ College? Did your grandfather go to Russ College?
I'm not sure where he got, because there's a whole line of Methodist preachers.
Yeah.
AME. You hear me preaching, I knew that. But at any rate, yeah, he was a pastor, and he married my grandmother, and then my father was sent to this is so interesting, sent to Tulsa to go to high school, and then went to Tennessee State.
And then another thing that's interesting, oh, sorry.
Who went to Tennessee State? My father. Remember you said you went to Tennessee State,
Exactly.
but you would have been younger than him. So I don't know where you went in proximity to when he went. And I don't have his exact graduation date. So the connection here is interesting with you and my father and my mom. Like, what in the
That's John.
Just don't know.
His wife's name was Hayes. Now, here's a little bit interesting, I don't know what happened to my dad. He went to the restroom, okay, well, her last name was Pfizer.
Okay,
Okay, she's Pfizer, and Ardelia married Ardelia somebody, Patton, who was it? Help me understand how that happened, Pfizer. Fleetwood was related as well to Pfizer. So we're double cousins.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we're double cousins. Fleetwood married her sister's child or something like that.
No, Phoebe said.
Yeah, so we'll take that. Pfizer helps us got the cure for COVID. Pfizer.
Right.
Wrong spelling, by the way. That would be that German leap that she just.
Because I was going to say, I'm everybody, my people agree.
So there's a lot of mixture and we overlap, and I think the same thing with Danielle and Prices, we're also related to Prices.
I guess, at the end of the day,
Yeah, have lots of description. And then Charles, real quick,
Yeah.
where'd he go?
I'm just pulling out something.
So he was talking about, we also had, Brigadier General.
Yeah, so if you don't know who Leontine Price is, she's an opera singer, classical musician. And she's performed, Queen Elizabeth, she's performed. She was the one who actually opened up New York Met. So she came after Marian Henderson. So she had to do a lot of stuff to get to where she was. She was born in Laurel, Mississippi. Just saw a little picture that you saw of her. Leontine used to take her out to the outhouse when she was little. So that's, you come from that. Now, she has a brother, his name is George Price, he's a retired brigadier general. George is still alive as far as I know, so is Leontine as far as I know. And George's picture is up.
Which one is George?
George is number 40, so go, he's next to the woman general. Denise, you see a woman general in there?
Right there in the middle.
Yes,
Okay, the one next, go across to the end.
here,
Yeah, I think George is at the,
okay, so he was a general.
the brigadier general.
So we have new family members coming in.
There was a female general.
This is Aisha.
We'll be on the green team.
All right, we're gonna move on. You know, we're looking at time. I always look at the time as I was a teacher. You can't tell already.
Yes. Where's your stick?
I know, right?
Your corn is stick.
But first, where is she?
The girls are outside.
Can you ask them to come in? Wait, before they come in, wait. Let's get the cake ready.
It's right here.
You want to?
Excuse me, that's my job.
Oh,
Darren told me that's my
oh,
job.
God, all right.
You almost dropped him.
Oh, is that it?
So I'm gonna go get her, and then we're gonna sing happy birthday to her. Okay. All right, let me go grab her. Oh, there it is. Here she comes, here she comes. Let's be Stevie Wonder, we'll let you lead us off.
Happy
birthday
to you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy
birthday, happy
birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
I do the long version.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy
All right.
No, I got,
So we're gonna have some cake,
this is fine.
but while we're doing that, we gotta be, yes, I You don't want cake, you can go back outside. part of California do you guys live in?
Southern,
Did we ever? In Riverside County, right?
I think that's what he got right there, and most of them went to the internet. And that's where they kind of settled.
I'm okay. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to
This
go?
is intelligent, the same thing doesn't mean that they look
Only have half a bite.
Here's my knife. Here's my
Was your grade okay, Greenie? Was the grade okay for you? This is right out of Coastal in here. Oh, okay, word. For me, like,
Everybody else want to
Yeah, that's the one.
She said, we ain't got no. I know, even if I wish we could take the pictures and then there she is. And then, like that. Yeah. Thank you. Brother of Cordelia. So we're a friend, yeah.
It's hard like
What she said, she gave her first round. It says, no, she says, they're nice.
You're gonna take a family photo outside in about 5 minutes.
Yes, I did. I had something to
Okay, let's go ahead and start heading out. We're gonna take a group picture by the fence up there. There's shade.
You said you do judgment from the I am.
Okay, let's head out to take a picture. All right, you guys ready? We're gonna go take.
You guys have to end it. You have to be in the vote.
What are you doing? You gotta get in. There we go. He was moving it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just look at it. How about that?
Thank you.
Pictures,
Come on, you can eat your cupcake in the picture.
It was. It was.
You want this piece here?
My man, you can have 4 pieces if you want.
Okay.
No, I'll play it. No.
Once you can have, there's some left, you can have it for.
Eat a fork. Is that enough or you want another one? I'm talking too much.
Right. Yeah. My little nephew wants his cake, huh? Okay. Oh, no. Yeah, it's just wrong. I know, that's too much. Yeah. Yes, I got the sugar.
Yup.
Yeah, I have diabetes. Come on, Miss Expert. Got you right. How do you like it, Expert?
I have regular bees.
I'm sorry, what? How do you like it, Expert? What is type 1 and type 2? Yeah. Type 1 requires insulin. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
Did you have it as a child or?
Oh,
Yeah.
This one,
He's even had a heart defibrillator.
oh,
But he just lost a lot of weight. He and his wife are going semi-vegetarian.
yeah.
He's lost a lot of weight.
Eating that tofu. Eating that tofu.
I don't know about tofu, but whatever, his wife is an RN. Whatever she's feeding him is healthy, or not feeding him.
You my homegirl, man. You my favorite. We co-workers now. I'm co-workers. Grab one more. Yeah. I got 3.
Okay.
Okay, begin. You too, I'm ready, my first.
No, I'm not.
You go outside in the bushes up the trail.
So can you.
Not as easily.
Okay, you guys gotta be in the game.
I know.
More of the cupcakes, better than
The cake is good. I don't
The cake is good.
Isn't it? I'm just not.
When they use the
Give
good
me a
frosting,
biscuit.
when they use the good frosting, it's good. This tastes like good frosting.
No, it's wish I would've got it. I was gonna grab my phone, but I was gonna be in the way of the lady. Oh, just move them out of the way.
I already shared the live stream.
You did.
Oh, yeah.
What you for us?
Mm-hmm.
Cheryl, hi.
I just.
What do you do? Where do you live?
Is it up?
New York? Wow. I'm all the way diametrically southwest.
Where?
Los Angeles!
Oh, yes. No, we grew up in Highland Park in Pasadena, you know?
Oh, yeah? I live over by Sandy Studios.
I love the Cali so much, but when my parents go back and they come back, they're just like,
Yeah. It's crazy.
especially when you get used to the Midwest, because it's just the right amount of crowded. You know?
Yeah.
It's not that crowded, but
Well, you know, LA is a star making machine. California is its own country. Come on, man, let's go. Come on. The United States means California. California don't mean nobody.
no,
We created it.
they were talking about seceding how many times?
They ain't gonna succeed, but
They could.
they could, but they don't need the United States. They don't need anybody. We're self-sufficient all on our own. We got everything, like everything, literally.
It's the one state, it's the one piece of real estate in the world where the whole world looks to it.
Right, and you know, it has a badass history. Like California, the reason why it has the shape that it has is due to the fact that the founder, it was a land thing, and he's like, they wanted him to make it square it all off, and he's like, no. He's like, it was a badass situation. Like I'm a badass motherfucker. Don't fuck with me. I'm taking it the way that I know.
Shit.
Right, he was a badass, whoever the guy was.
Well, now I saw
I love
recently
that.
in the news too, though, that they're starting to give chunks back to the native tribes. Just like, I didn't realize how many fucking tribes there were in California. Listen,
There's a lot. Yeah,
plus you guys led the way for all the states to legalize marijuana.
yeah. I mean, we are Mexico after all.
It's pretty much, yeah, I mean, it used to be Hispanic territory, but you know.
Not some good chocolate.
It's all.
Hey, yo! You kept it over here. Get your butt up. And come outside. You're an isolationist. What's your name?
Anthony.
Anthony, I'm Cheryl. Get up, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go. Come on. Come on, leave the stroller. Nobody's gonna take it.
Oh, because she got her first and she told me that too. So,
Put it by the door. Nobody's gonna come in. Your legs in the office. We're not in like California or any state where they might rob you.
wow.
Okay, very good. Come on outside.
My friends
I'll
in
walk
New
you
Mexico went to Disneyland for the first time. And we told them we're going to Disneyland. We said, don't use the stroller. There was in Disneyland 3 minutes. Everything was gone. Yeah, it's not the stroller to go with that.
Where is the water balloon?
Balloon's full of water.
Patrick,
Yes.
you're good?
Huh?
You're good?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good.
feel, please?
I think I'm okay.
No, the outside, just watch, I don't want, I still want squirrels to run in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I unlocked it, so they can, oil water from house fragments. Let's just shut it.
I can scroll through there.
Let's see, no?
Yeah, I'll, you know what, I'll be aware of keeping that door closed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to see how they bring you stuff. Wow.
And you know, already accumulated what they brought in life. Rather than brought this.
Leaving the games here.
Oh, is she?
So that I might be able to use it for like party.
Okay. Then we're gonna see what, can you take some of this? This is how they're staying at the Airbnb. So they can take, but I don't want to.
They can take it to the Airbnb.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you're gonna show me the drawer here? Okay.
Oh, right here, Jackie.
Well, that one, you show,
When you leave, this goes like that. So it's locked from other people.
because you know residents.
Right now, it's like
that. Okay, I'll remember that. Okay.
Up and down means everybody can come in. You know,
Okay, 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 okay,
Uh-huh, all right.
okay.
And, I'll go do the same, because they were getting water balloons. I'll go lock the outside door now, because the residents know the hook. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Only thing you have to do is make sure that's
Yeah,
horizontal
yeah, so I don't.
and the front door locked. That's it.
Oh, do it, is the front door simple?
Also, the way.
And where is this thing, and then they still have to cross, go out?
The gym is now locked, because everybody can just use that
That
door.
close, yeah, because nobody's using this door.
Oh, yeah.
Those are two.
People can work out and leave. They know that if there's a party.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Main door,
Sometimes the bolt, when you do this, it doesn't turn all the way. See, it won't lock. The thing doesn't latch up, so you have to pull it towards you. Pull it in, and then it goes up, and then you, like, up, it's locked. That's all.
but wait a minute, can I do this one time outside?
No, you have to do it from the inside and then walk around the outside.
Oh, okay, and then,
Uh-huh. Now it's fine.
okay, because that was, that's where I can do before I go out and do foot.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, where's
If
she
you
signing?
forget, don't worry about it.
Okay, where's she signing? Who said if we're lower than 5?
Oh, see these notices? I'll just put 6 for now.
All right, because we're using 5. I'm using 5. That's what some people leave.
Don't worry. If anything, people come in, they have their own coffee at home, and they might need the computer for something, but it's not super important, they could probably wait till tonight.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
All right, there, right upside down, I'm gonna change the gym sign. It's fine, don't worry.
Oh,
Yeah, I put it on 3 signs, because those folks is
So now the store is locked.
It's open now, but that's my
We
go to
will
the
lock
bar.
it, and this we can lock and go out.
Just the 2 doors and they clean up, they know what to do.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay. Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Okay, where is that glass of wine I had? Yeah. I gotta find it. I don't have a glass of wine. I gotta find my glass of wine. Let's see, Debbie, I came in to talk to you. Did I put it on?
Was it in a cup?
Yeah, it was on one of those little blue cups. I put it on the desk. No, I didn't. How do they?
We're cute little girls, so just saying, girls are so good, they can just stay put. Right, they stay put, you give them something to draw.
This is it.
There you go.
This is it. Thank you.
Yay.
Okay,
There you go.
you know, one of the kids had birthday today.
Oh, that's what you were singing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh my gosh.
She's 4 today.
Oh, cute,
So,
cutie.
okay, I'll see you before
Oh,
you leave.
enjoy. Oh, I leave it for her, so
Let
I'm
me
not gonna
know.
have to bother you.
I'll be around, let me know when you're
I
ready.
gave her my card if they needed me for anything. I gave Diane my cell phone.
Okay.
You know, everything seems to go
But
smoothly.
still let me know.
Sure, I'm leaving in 10 minutes. So I'll just say goodbye now.
Oh,
Yeah,
bye.
enjoy yourself. It's 4. No.
Okay,
We work till 4 Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So you know what to do. She has my cell number if you needed to ask me anything.
Okay, I'll call.
Well, my cell I always answer. She has it, Denise. You weren't here, so I just gave her my
Thanks for
card.
everything, Debbie.
Welcome.
Okay.
Nice party, nice family.
Okay.
Enjoy yourself.
See you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
That was a good last one. That one got you good.
Yeah.
food. All right, so let's eat first.
We're outside in fun and games. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off for a while. Be back later.